A happy new year to everyone, and welcome into the Hall of Trivia on HQ, our football and fantasy sports sponsored by the Hall of Fantasy League and the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company. I am Jeff Eisenband, and I will be your party captain tonight. It's New Year's Eve, and we are sending 2020 out with a bang and hopefully adding some cash for you to spend in 2021. First, quick story before we start. I don't know if you guys can realize this, but during rehearsal, I was trying to do a cool thing, like right around here, and I totally ripped my middle top button. So you might notice that I'm using the bottom button, but that's what we're rolling with tonight. New Year's Eve, let's party. All right, let's head to the Start Sit Fantasy Pick'em Pool brought to you by the Hall of Fantasy League. Each week, we give you two or more players. You pick the player you think will score more fantasy points that week, and if you get that, that's a W. You get the most wins. You'll share a $10,000 grand prize at the end. Also, here's my button. You will wonder. It's in my pocket. Put that back. Gonna have to sew that. Anyone know sewing? Put it in the chat. Help me out. We are going to run the Start Sit Fantasy Pick'em Pool through the conference championship round of the playoffs, by the way, so keep track of those wins. We'll keep track for you. Last week, we had Alvin Kamara versus Dalvin Cook, and oh man, Kamara went absolutely bonkers with one of the best fantasy games we've seen all season. He had 54.7 points in our half PPR format. Dalvin Cook had a modest 15.5. So Kamara's picks, you got the win last week. This week, it's a three-quarterback race. We're going with three rookie QBs. They're all playing different games. They're not playing head-to-head. Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Herbert. Well, I guess they're going head-to-head here in our Start Sit. Already, I'm gonna call it on HQ. Ready? Oh, did producer a soft jump? I got him to go offside. See, I was calling, trying to draw the production team off sides. I haven't gotten them any weeks, but I guess I got him there. I hope you picked someone as he jumped the line of scrimmage, a little neutral zone infraction. It is Justin Herbert getting 41%, Tua getting 32%, Jalen Hurts 27%. I like the way this is spread out. Justin Herbert's been awesome all year, but will he have Keenan Allen? That could be a factor. All right, let's do that trivia tonight. I'm going to ask you 10 questions about the NFL this past week in fantasy football. All questions, by the way, they're powered by our friends at Sport Radar. We appreciate that. If you get all the questions right, you and whoever's left will split the prize pot of $2,500. So don't pop the champagne yet, all right? Hold in your champagne, pop it when you get that $2,500, when you get all 10 questions right, or use enough extra lives to help you become a winner. It's almost ready for kickoff, all right? It is time to get things popping here with trivia. Q1 is on the way right now. After kickoff. You got to kick before Q1. That's what they're telling me. All right, we all in? We ready to go? Let's go with Q1. Where is the Pro Football Hall of Fame located? Canton, Ohio, Cooperstown, New York, or Foxborough, Massachusetts? Canton, Cooperstown, or Foxborough? In Northeast, I guess Ohio Valley region we're going here. Cooperstown is where the National Baseball Hall of Fame is located, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame, well, that's located where the NFL was founded in 1920, and that's Canton, Ohio. I hope you guys got that because we've been talking about it all the time. Our presenting sponsors, the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company and the Hall of Fantasy League, that's where they're based, in Canton, where the Hall of Fame is. Go visit it if you haven't done so before, or do it again if you've already done it. Q2, we're playing another trivia question here again. Which team just cut the quarterback it chose in the first round of the 2019 NFL Draft? The San Francisco 49ers, the Washington Football Team, or the Jacksonville Jaguars? And this team actually has a chance to make the playoffs. Dwayne Haskins was the third quarterback taken in the NFL Draft a season ago, but he's the first of those three to be waived. The Washington Football Team cut him just a day after he started against the Panthers last week. 19,555. You probably got that push notification from the NFL accounts you follow on Monday. Now, is it Alex Smith or Taylor Heineke? Heineke. I know you got to think Heineken and just go Heineke to say his name right. Q3. What is the nickname given to the player chosen last in the NFL Draft? Mr. Irrelevant, Last Man Standing, or the Finisher? Finish him! Finish him! No, that's not it. Once you start falling back in the draft, you might as well root for yourself to be the last pick because Mr. Irrelevant is a title you can hold forever and probably market yourself with if you really want to. 15,304 got that. I might have been too excited for 2,740 of you taking the finisher. Ryan Suckup is probably the most famous Mr. Irrelevant right now. He's in his 12th season. He's kicking for the Tampa Bay Bucks. You'll see him in the playoffs. Q4. Of the top 3 fantasy picks by average draft position in 2020, who scored the most points per game played? Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, or Ezekiel Elliott? So when these guys played, who scored the most points? Having an early pick in your fantasy draft kind of sucked this year. But at least if you had Christian McCaffrey, he produced in those 3 big games he played in. Those 3 hard hitters he gave you 8,802, getting you, some people thought it was Saquon. Saquon really only played in that first game and changed this season. CMC doubled Zeke and quadrupled Saquon Barkley in the games that they all actually played. Per game we're talking about. You should have just drafted James Robinson, right? He went undrafted in most drafts. He was the guy. Q5. Before this year, who was the Patriots' starting quarterback the last time they finished under 500? Matt Castle, Drew Bledsoe, or Doug Flutie? And I hope you had your Flutie flates just to give you the brain power to answer this question. Tom Brady went 1 for 3 on pass attempts in 2000, and the Patriots went 5-11 that year. They finished last in the AFC East. Drew Bledsoe, who started all 16 games for them, he was the guy that was more to blame. He was the scapegoat for that team, and 10,354 of you got that. I thought some people would think maybe Matt Castle. Cam Newton is going to add his name to that list because if you haven't caught the drift, the Patriots are going to be under 500 this year. I see D Tandy likes my gold tie. I appreciate that. I'll tell you that I didn't get it. It's here in the office, and I think it's Matt Richards that I might have taken, and I got to remember to take off. I've tried to put on a couple of these ties, and I might have taken one with me out of here by accident. I don't think Matt noticed. Well, we're halfway through this game, so everyone take a quick break and try not to lose your focus. I know it's New Year's. Again, we're almost at champagne popping time, but you're only halfway through. I asked you on Twitter, what is your New Year's resolution for your favorite NFL team? There were some great answers to this one, but this was my favorite, and it came from Eklek 1970. I hope I'm getting that right. For the Browns to beat the Steelers and win the Super Bowl. LOL. It's a double-layered sort of thing, right? Let's just focus on the Browns beating the Steelers this first week before we can move on to Super Bowl, Cleveland fans. Get to the playoffs. But good luck. You haven't been to the playoffs for a long time. 2002. Q6. Besides Travis Kelce, who is the only tight end to hit double digits in touchdowns so far this year? TJ Hawkinson, Darren Waller, or Robert Tonyan? Bobby Tonyan. Darren Waller has been one of the great stories in the NFL this year, and TJ Hawkinson has been a fantasy stalwart. But it's Green Bay's Robert Tonyan, who has 10 TDs on just 50 catches this year. That's unbelievable. And 6,648. I told us off that this might end up being a sack question. It's not. I think I could have at least 5 touchdowns playing tight end for Aaron Rodgers, right? Look at me, right? I got the extra flex with the extra room, no button here. Maybe not. Let's move on to Q7. Which of these wide receivers had the most fantasy points last week? Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans, or Devontae Adams? I'm glad that people like the tie because not that I'm self-conscious or anything about the broken button that I broke in rehearsal or anything like that. Oh, you want the answer to this question? All 3 of these dudes, they went off last week. Diggs is the NFL's leading receiver and went for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mike Evans casually went for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. But it was Devontae Adams with 11 receptions, 142 yards, and 3 TDs that edged the other guys. What a week for wide receivers. Devontae just keeps working. Him and A-Rod doing their thing. We were saying what? I should say, like I was running a button hook, and that's why I broke the button. Little NFL joke for you all. Not that good. Q8. Who was the first player to win the Heisman Trophy and a Super Bowl MVP? Terry Bradshaw, Joe Montana, or Roger Staubach? You got it. I see a laugh over there. I hope it's not the chat. They're done with my gold tie. They're just on to other things. Listen, Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw, they won Super Bowl MVPs, but they did not win Heisman trophies. Roger Staubach, though, he was a legend, dominating for Navy, where he won the Heisman Trophy. And then in Super Bowl VI with the Cowboys, he won a Super Bowl MVP. 6,454 of you, I'll call you winners with that question. Wow. You guys moved quick with that Roger Staubach question. Nice job. Q9. The NFL's all-time leading rusher played at what college? Syracuse, Oklahoma State, or Florida? Haha. Now we got you. Now we got you all right where you want. We're giving you a two-layered question. You got the Staubach one, but who got this? Jim Brown, who went to Syracuse, and Barry Sanders, who went to Oklahoma State, they were both the dominant running backs. But Emmitt Smith, who went to Florida, racked up more rushing yards than anyone else. 5,036 of you were able to do the two layers and get that right. Right, Gator fans, at least you got one victory this season, and it was in Q9 of a Hall of Trivia game because you didn't look so good last night. All right, it's time for the final question, folks. Don't be the Browns. Finish 2020 strong. Sorry, EAK, Lek. I'm calling out the Browns. You're talking about you want the Browns to win the Super Bowl this year, and I'm just out here burning them a little bit. All right, folks, we got a lot of people in here, so I want to see some people make some money as we head into 2021. Q10. What team has not appeared in 3 consecutive Super Bowls? The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Miami Dolphins, or the New England Patriots? We're talking about which team has not appeared in 3 consecutive Super Bowls. That's the big game at the end of the year. If you're one of the 2 best teams, you get to play in it. The Patriots did this just a few years ago, and they would have won 3 straight if not for the Philly special, Nick Foles. The Dolphins did it in the 70s. They also won 2 of 3 during that run. The Steelers have won back-to-back Super Bowls twice, but they've never actually played in 3 straight. So that is your answer. The Pittsburgh Steelers, and 3,320 of you got that. Some of you overthought it. You thought the Patriots. You thought wrong. The Steelers picks, they are our winners tonight. Anyone that went past the steel curtain to Pittsburgh, to the Steel City, 3 Rivers, Heinz Field, Big Ben, he's played in 3 Super Bowls, not 3 straight. I don't know if he's going to have time to do that in his career. But congrats to all of those winners. Who do we got? We got Jessica Meltz, who looks a lot like Nick Jonas. We got Quentin 92.